Today we are going to talk about the Toxoplasma gondii. So the Toxoplasma gondii comes under the protozoa and it's come under the sporozoa. So the Toxoplasma gondii causes toxoplasmosis. In the immunocompetent patient, the toxoplasmosis appears as mononucleosis-like symptom and there is negative heterophile antibody test. But in the immunocompromised state such as HIVs, there is reactivation, and on the MRI we can see the brain abscess, usually seen as the multiple ring enhancing lesions. So in the MRI you can also see the multiple ring enhancing lesions. So this is the typical features of the infection of the Toxoplasma gondii in the brain. So now let us talk about the congenital toxoplasmosis. The congenital toxoplasmosis consists of classical triad of chorioretinitis, hydrocephalus and intracranial calcifications. How this Toxoplasma gondii transmits from one person to another. So the main transmission is by the cyst of the Toxoplasma gondii. So if there is cyst in meat, so which is the most common type of transmission we see, if we eat the meat that contains the cyst of the Toxoplasma gondii, then we can acquire the Toxoplasma infection. Also the oocyst in the cat feces especially causes the toxoplasmosis infection, and the oocyst that is present in the cat feces can also cross the placenta. So the pregnant women should possibly or mostly avoid the cats. So how do we diagnose the Toxoplasma gondii? The diagnosis can be based on the serology or the biopsy. On the biopsy you can see the tracheozoids. So you can see the pictures of the tracheozoids of the Toxoplasma gondii in this picture. So on the biopsy, if we see this type of structure, then it is obviously the tracheozoids of the Toxoplasma gondii. So how do we treat the infection? We treat the infection by the sulfadiazine and pyrimethamine. You have to know that the definitive host of this Toxoplasma gondii are cats and other felines, and the intermediate host is human being and other mammals. So now let us discuss about the life cycle of the Toxoplasma gondii. Now let us discuss about the detail about life cycle of the Toxoplasma gondii. First of all, let us discuss from the sporulated oocyst. So I have already told you that the oocyst in the cat feces are the main source of the transmission. So sporulated oocyst causes the soil contamination. So the contaminated soil is ingested by the rats and birds, or the oocysts may also infect the water or various other edible things, and they are ingested by the rats and birds. So the tissue cyst is formed in the birds and rats. So the cat acquire infection by ingestion of the rodent meat containing those tissue cysts. That means those type of bird and rat which has formed the tissue cyst, if the cat eats those bird and rats, the cat acquire infection of the tissue cyst. And after the ingestion of the tissue cyst that is present in the birds and rat, there is excision of the tissue cyst in the small intestine of those cats, and from that bradyzoids are released. So the bradyzoids undergo schizogony, that is asexual life cycle in the mucosal cells, and the merozoids are the form. The merozoids, the two processes occur after the merozoids are formed. The merozoids may enter the extraintestinal tissue and it may form the tissue cyst inside the definitive host, or the merozoids can undergo the gamegony and it can form the macro and microgamete. The fertilization occurs and the oocyst is formed and they are excreted in the feces. So they develop in the soil as sporulated oocyst, and those sporulated oocyst contaminate the soil, and again ingestion occurs by the rats and bird, and tissue cyst form, and the cats eat them and they acquire infection, excision occur, and those life cycle occurs inside the definitive host of the Toxoplasma gondii. But we know that the intermediate host is humans or other mammals. What happens is that accidentally, after the soil contamination or after the formation of the sporulated oocyst, the human being or other mammals acquires infection by the ingestion of contaminated food and water containing sporulated oocyst, or by the ingestion of the undercooked meat containing the tissues. That means some people also eat rats and some people also eat birds. So if those type of rats and birds contain the tissues and undercooked meat, if we eat those kind of undercooked meat, then we acquire those tissues. So what happens, those type of tissues go inside our small intestine, and there is excitation in the small intestine. The brachiozoids are released from the tissues, those infect the intestinal mucosa. The tracheozoids are formed and they spread to various vital organs like in our brain, in our heart, and various other vital organs, and we become dead by the infection, and there is end of the life cycle if we human being or other mammal acquire the infection, because we are intermediate. But if the rats and birds acquire those soil contamination and tissue cystoma, and that is acquired by the cats and cat and eat those type of meat, then the life cycle goes on. Here I have said that if the man is dead, then there is the end of the life cycle. But what happens if there is cannibalism? So if there is practice of the cannibalism, then obviously there could be the another life cycle going on. But we assume that there is no cannibalism in this world that doesn't eat the meat of the dead human being. So after the man is dead, after the acquiring infection of the Toxoplasma gondii, we say there is end of the life cycle. So I hope you understood this topic on Toxoplasma gondii. Thank you.